Practice.
All right, do it again.
I have two quick motions. The first motion is that we leave non-public session.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to leave non-public. On the motion, Councilor Mills.
Yes.
Councilor Webb.
Yes.
Councilor Chase.
Yes.
Councilor McEachern.
Yes.
And Councilor Spencer's not there, correct, Owen? I don't think she'll be
I
joining us,
am
but.
checking now, Mr. Chair. Stand
All right, the
by.
chair votes yes. We're, no, good.
The second motion is that we seal those minutes as it is matters which, if per RSI 91-A:3, 2 Part C, matters which, if discussed in public, would likely affect adversely the reputation of any person other than a member of the public body itself, unless such person requests an open meeting.
Indefinitely?
Definitely.
Okay.
And I'll second that also, Mr.
And a
Chair.
second, motion and a second to seal the minutes indefinitely. Councilor Mills.
Yes.
Councilor Webb.
Yes.
Councilor Chase.
Yes.
Councilor McEachern.
Yes.
The chair votes yes. Sealed 6-0. Good evening. Welcome to the Derry Town Council meeting for Tuesday, March 3rd, 2026. Councilor Chase, please lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, we'll do roll call. Councilor Mills.
Good evening.
Councilor Webb.
Hello.
Councilor Chase.
Good evening.
McEachern.
Good evening.
And not there, right?
Correct, Mr.
So
Chair.
Councilor Spencer will not be joining us this evening due to a work commitment. And good evening from the chair. Do we have a motion to open public forum?
Motion over the public hearing, Mr. Chairman?
Public forum.
Public forum, sorry.
Second that.
Okay, a motion and a second on public forum. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Public forum is now open. If you wish to speak, come up, state your name and address for the record. And we'll look online.
Anybody online, Owen?
Seeing none rise online, Mr. Chair?
Seeing
Did
no
you
one
wanna step up?
jumping to the
This
forefront,
is you,
Mr.
yep.
Chairman? Oh,
Yep.
did you
We
want
have
to come
someone.
up? Before I close the meeting?
Go for it.
Yeah, you're all set.
Mr. Chair, if I may, this is a member of DerryCAM, Mr. Charlie Buzzell, and he asked if I could have a slideshow to accompany his presentation. With your permission, I'll
Absolutely.
pull that up. Thank you.
Thanks, Charlie.
Thank you.
That's all right, don't worry about it. Thank you.
Thanks.
And good evening. Just state your name and address for the record, please.
All right. Is this on?
Yes, it is.
All right. I'm Charlie Buzzell. I live at Eastgate Road, number 8. All right, let's get started. Good evening, councilors. My name is Charlie Buzzell. Tonight, I want to talk to you about my grandfather, who was a police officer, assistant chief of the East Derry Fire Department. When we look at the life of Captain Rogers Durgan, we see more than a
That's an extra one.
photographer in headlines. We see a lifetime service to his community. Now, slide 1 is one of the most notable moments to his law enforcement career. Was the appointment of Junior, an 18-month-old German Shepherd, to the Derry Police Department at a time when canine programs were still development. Officer Durgan helped bring involvement to local policing. Junior was trained in Stoughton, Massachusetts. Once fully prepared, become part of the force full-time. Any questions yet?
Nope, doing great.
Slide 2. But his wasn't just about adding a police dog. Being a canine handler requires trust, discipline, and daily commitment. The partnership between Officer Durgan and Junior represented professionalism and forward thinking. It showed his willingness to strengthen the department, better serve the community. Slide 3, please. The placard hung at his home had reading Derry, New Hampshire Police K-9 Corp. Junior, off Durgan handler. It let people know there was a police K-9 inside, but it also symbolized pride. Pride in service, pride, responsibility, pride in protecting the town he called home. Slide 4, please.
Mr. Buzzell, hold on one second. Do we have a motion to extend?
Motion to extend.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, continue.
Thank you. We also see him standing with fellow officers at the Old Derry Police Station in Adams Memorial Building. The mug reflects an era of close-kept department where teamwork, and determination define the job. Officer Durgan stood along his peers as part of the shared mission to protect and serve. 5, please, Seth. Now, there's even a remarkable photo of Roger Durgan with Alan Shepard, whom he escorted to Logan Airport shortly before Shepard went on to NASA and into space. It's a powerful reminder that local service can reflect with national history, even while serving his own community. Has life touched larger moments in American history? Slide 6. Of course, much of his career was built not on headlines, but on everyday commitment, patrol shift, long hours, steady pressure. True public service is often quiet, and consultant and officer in that responsibility. His designation extends beyond law enforcement. He also served as Assistant Chief of the East Derry Fire Department. A few people devoted themselves to fully access multiple areas of public safety. In his leadership and commitment to protect others' career into every role he held. Now, there we go. Today, a memorial stone is the stone at Station 4 in East Derry honors Captain Roger F. Durgan, who lived 2012 to 1912 to 1997. That memorial stands as a lasting tribute, not just a little, the title that to a life defined by service. Closing. When we reflect on his story, we see involvement, leadership, partnership, and devotion to community. We see a man who dedicated his life to protect and serve others. That is a legacy that endorses.
Great, thank you very much. I had no idea, that was a great history lesson.
Yeah.
That was a great history lesson. Thank you very much for presenting that to us.
Any questions?
Any questions?
No, I didn't know that we had a canine before Latios.
I know, I was going to tell Captain Micho,
Yeah.
he's,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Great presentation. Anyone else, questions?
No?
Okay. Owen, anyone online?
Mr. Chair, seeing none, rise online.
And seeing no one here, I'm going to make a motion to close the public forum, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to close public forum. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, public forum is now closed. We'll move on to the consent agenda. Item 26-12, approved minutes from February 12th, 2026. And we have 26-13, non-public meeting minutes review. So the non-public meeting minutes that we're going to unseal, the entire meeting from the minutes of October 7th, 2025, and partial meeting minutes of December 2nd, 2025. Then we have agenda item 26-19, resolution 2026-012.
I'm sorry, before you go on to that, do you want to read? We're
No.
going to keep the other ones remaining?
No.
Nope, we don't do that?
Yep.
Okay.
To accept a Department of Justice Assistance Grant for fiscal year 2026, COPS Technology and Equipment Grant, Opportunity ID, OBJ 24-17-2101, and there'll be a public hearing on that March 26, 2026. Do you have any motion to accept?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to accept the consent agenda. Councilor Mills,
Yes.
Councilor Webb,
yes.
Councilor Chase.
Yes.
Councilor McEachern.
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. 6-0. 5. My math's off. That's 5. 5-0. Chair's report. Madam Clerk, the town elections will be coming up March 10th. And are you going to be joining her? So we're going to have Town Clerk Tina Guilford and Town Moderator David Nelson presenting. Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Chair and members of the council. I'm happy to join you on a nice snowy evening. So, as far as I am concerned, we are ready for the election. The poll workers have been recruited, training has been given, ballots have been pre-counted, machines have been tested. The only thing I'm a little dubious about, especially for those of you who might actually be campaigning, is the dedicated electioneering area at Hackler Gymnasium is currently a snowbank. So we may have to make some last-minute arrangements.
Yep, that is going to be a subject of an email tomorrow morning. So, because I drove by there this afternoon, in the snow to see what it looked like. I don't know if there's anywhere for anybody to stand, for anybody who wants to campaign, unless they want to stand in a snowbank. So we'll need to connect with Pinkerton and get something resolved there. Everything is ready. Vote on Tuesday. When you go to vote, don't forget, we do have our new voting machines, so please wait for the green check when you're putting your ballot in so that you know that your ballot has been accepted by the voting machine. And before you try to stick in the second one, because everybody gets 2 ballots, a town ballot and a school ballot. So please wait for the green check. Also, if you need an absentee ballot, we are available in the town clerk's office from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Monday. You have until 5 p.m. to come in and pick up your absentee ballot the day before the election. And if you need assistance, again, I've had a few residents take advantage of this. Please call 603-432-6105 or email us at townclerk@derrynh.gov. We will come to you with an absentee ballot if that is what you need. And just come out and vote. Let's try to get over 2,000 voters.
Did you mention the cookies?
We're going to have cookies. Girl Scouts are going to be there selling
4
cookies.
troops selling Girl Scout cookies, so.
And the ballots were released today for the kids' vote. So kids in deep through 8th grade will have a special ballot.
Question.
And the stickers are all pre-cut, right?
Yep, stickers are ready to go.
What is the number of registered voters that we currently have?
20,482.
So we're going to hope for more than 2,000 people.
Hey, I'm just trying to shoot for more than last year.
Yeah.
Say it again.
The long-term weather report says 67 degrees and sunny.
20,482. Yes, the weather looks great and doesn't look like we're going to have any snow.
As of tonight.
Yep.
Any questions?
Yeah, looking forward to another great job that you guys always do.
All right.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
See you at 5:30.
5:30, town hall.
All right.
Early show.
So as you all know from the last meeting, we mentioned it, and you can see up here tonight, we do have a council vacancy. Council Mauger has resigned her position. That was effective on the 18th of February. So there is a notice of vacancy that will be posted, and I'm just going to read it. Notice of vacancy, town councilor at large to serve until next regular town election, not the one on the 10th of this year, but the one next year, so it'll be a year position. At which point the vacancy shall be filled by election for the remainder of the unexpired term. You must be a Derry resident, must be 18 or over, and must be a current registered voter in Derry. Qualified residents should submit a letter of interest by 4 p.m. on Wednesday, March 11th, 2026. You can do that by email to Sheila Bodenrainer, SHEILABODENRADER @derrynh.gov. You can mail it to the Derry Municipal Center, attention Sheila Bodenrader, same spelling, 14 Manning Street, Derry, 03038, or you can drop it off in person to Sheila Bodenrader, 3rd floor, her office right out here off the elevator. That's the executive department on the 3rd floor. And again, the deadline for that is Wednesday, March 11th Wednesday, March 11th at 4 p.m. I'm going to read verbatim from the town charter and what the process in filling this is. So according to our town charter, section 5.7, filling of town council vacancies. In case of a vacancy occurs in the town council for any reason, the remaining town councilors shall, by majority vote, appoint an acting councilor from among persons eligible to hold the vacant office to serve until the next regular town election, at which point the vacancy shall be filled by election for the remainder of the unexpired term. So I'm going to read it again in the first sentence. In case of vacancy occurs, the town council for any reason, the remaining town councilors shall, by majority vote, appoint an acting councilor from among persons eligible to hold the vacant office to serve until the next regular town election, at which point the vacancy shall be filled by election for the remainder of the unexpired term. So, having said that, so the deadline is the 11th. The town council will have a meeting here in this room on Thursday, March 12th at 7 p.m., and that we will then select a fill-in position for that remaining one-year term. So, councilors, did I miss anything? Anything you wanted to add?
If, the reason why she is not on the March 10th ballot is because she submitted her resignation too late to be legally included on the ballot.
Right, the filing period is closed for
Yeah.
that. So, anyone else? Anything? Chime in? Okay. Mr. Town Administrator.
All right, good evening. So, got a couple of items of general interest this evening. First, I'll start off with, at the last meeting, we had a gentleman from the public discuss some concerns he had found at 55 Crystal Ave, Hood Plaza, Shaw's in that plaza. After hearing those concerns, I was in contact with our code enforcement department and with our fire inspection staff relative to some of the concerns that were brought forward. Currently, there are 7 vacancies within that plaza. Our economic development director is actively working with all businesses, as she typically does. If there's a fit, she sometimes serves as the conduit between somebody, a suitor for a particular location. So that's an active activity that she's involved with. We also looked at the number of fire alarms that were down there. There were kind of an inordinate amount. There were 12 fire alarms in the last 12 months, and there was one business that had a high occurrence. I think there were 8 of the 12 locations. So I'm going to be reviewing the current ordinance with the fire marshal relative to the false alarms and looking at the charges that might be, and possibly returning to the town council to look at how to maybe make that ordinance a little bit more stringent in order to close out those concerns. So I just wanted to make sure that I responded and was responsive to the individual that was out there, but we are on that and working diligently to try to address some of those concerns. Building and infrastructure projects, the landfill solar projects in its last month. If you've been down to the transfer station access road, you can see some new poles that have been put up, some wire that's been strung, and that's the final connection point. We're going to be looking to hopefully have solar being produced and sent into the grid by about April 1st, 2026. I do want to put on the council's calendar that we've tentatively set up a date of May 27th, which is a Wednesday at 11 a.m. for a groundbreaking ceremony. We didn't want to do it too early. It's very wet down there and probably wouldn't be conducive to getting people in and out. But I'll talk more once we get the new council seated. But that was the date that was thrown out initially for a ribbon cutting ceremony. Personnel, I'm happy to report that today the fire chief selection committee met with 4 candidates for a round of interviews, and I will be gathering their input, and I will be reporting back to the town council quickly as far as what direction we'll be going from there. And then lastly, last Thursday, I had the great pleasure of attending a retirement ceremony at the Derry Public Library for Susan Brown. She'd retired after 25 years of service with the town of Derry. She was a great asset, primarily serving in the role of assistant director, but I also, when my role in public works, I had a lot of interaction with her. I think she filled the interim library director role on 5 occasions. So my congratulations to Susan. She was an ultimate team player, and I wish her well in her retirement. And that's all I have in the TA report tonight.
Great. Questions? Nope. All right. Moving on to public hearings, 26-09, Resolution 2026-005, to apply for and accept grant funding related to Phase 2A, Southern New Hampshire Regional Water Interconnection Project. Public Works Director Tom Carey presenting. Good evening, Tom.
Good evening, councilors. First presentation tonight is to request the council's authorization for the town administrator to apply for, accept and expend an amendment to our existing grant with the state of New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services, increasing our grant by $6 million for the purpose of furthering the work on the Southern New Hampshire Regional Water Project, specifically the Phase 2A portion. 2019, the town council executed a system interconnection agreement with our regional partners, Manchester Waterworks, towns of Salem, Atkinson, Hampstead, Plastow, and Windham, as well as Pennachuck Waterworks. The purpose of that agreement was to bring safe drinking water down to our southern New Hampshire communities. The first phase of that project was to wheel 1 million gallons from Manchester Waterworks through Derry into southern New Hampshire. That project was completed in 2019. That was approximately a $6.5 million project that was also funded through grants through the state. So we are currently flowing 1 million gallons. We are presently in the process of the phase 2, which is to increase that capacity from 1 million to 3 million gallons a day. That project was divided up into 2 phases, 2A, which are the upstream improvements to Derry's water system, and the 2B, which is the downstream improvements. Phase 2A is in progress, consists of a second interconnection with Manchester Waterworks off of Old Derry Road in Londonderry, a new pump station, a chemical feed facility at our existing water tank off of Shenito Road, and associated piping that goes through Londonderry as well. 2 of those contracts have been awarded and are in progress. The third project, which is the pump station, which effectively will replace our Scobie Pond pump station, is about to be bid. To complete that work required additional funding. And the state has offered to amend our agreement by increasing our funding by $6 million so that we can complete those improvements. With that, just to reiterate, this project does not have any impact on our tax rate or our water rates. It's a 100% match. Operationally, there will be some additional work associated with the new infrastructure, but the pump station, for example, will be replacing an older pump station, so effectively we'll be reducing the amount of maintenance required in theory on that particular portion of the project. With that, I would open up to any questions.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to make a motion on public hearing.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second on public hearing. Council Mills?
Yes.
Council Webb?
Yes.
Chase?
Yes.
Pickering?
Yes.
And Chair votes yes. Public hearing is now open. If you wish to speak on this matter, come up, state your name and address for the record.
Mr. Chair, seeing none, rise online.
And one more shot here, seeing nobody jumping to the forefront, I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to close. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the public hearing is now closed. Councilors, any questions or comments?
No? Thank you.
I'll happy to read the resolution if there are none. Resolution 2026-005 to apply for and accept grant funding related to Phase 2A for the Southern New Hampshire Water Interconnection Project. Whereas Section 915 of the Town Charter authorizes Town Council to apply for, accept, and expend funds available from the state, and whereas the Town Council has previously adopted Resolution 2019-018, which authorized Derry's participation in the Southern New Hampshire Regional Water Interconnect Project, whereas the Town Council has also adopted Resolutions 2024-68, 2025-34, which authorize the acceptance of $9.33 million grant from the New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services for this project, and whereas additional grant funding from the New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services is available to further advance the project, now therefore be it resolved in council that the town administrator is hereby authorized to sign and or amend grant applications and agreements with New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services and accept to and expend up to $6 million from the New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services for infrastructure improvements in Derry associated with this project. Resolution shall take effect immediately on its passage.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. On the motion, Council Mills.
Yes.
Council Webb.
Yes.
Council Chase.
Yes.
Pickering.
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Motion carries 5-0. All right, moving along. 26-10, Resolution 2026-006, to apply for and accept grant funding related to Phase 2B of the Southern Hampshire Regional Water Interconnection.
Again, Councilor, furthering our obligations under the System Interconnection Agreement, This request is to authorize the town administrator to enter into a new grant agreement with the state of New Hampshire in the amount of $5.55 million to begin work on the Phase 2B, or the downstream infrastructure improvements to the Derry water system associated with the Southern New Hampshire Regional Water Project. The $5.55 million is to begin the southern portion of the work. Those improvements will include a new public water storage tank off of Warner Hill Road, interconnection distribution piping along Warner Hill Road, Floyd Road, and Lawrence Road. It would also include the final engineering, as well as some upgrade improvements to water pipe within the Derry public water system, again, to get the additional 2 million gallons through Derry's water system south into Windham. Obviously, the total cost of those improvements is in the ballpark of about $25 million. So the $5.5 million that we will be starting out will cover the final engineering costs, will also allow us to do some easement acquisition for the relocation of the Pond Road Booster Station, as well as the new water tank, and also do some of our infrastructure pipe upgrades. And at that point, we'll be looking at securing additional funding from the state or other sources to further the remainder of that work. Again, no impact to Derry's water rates or the taxes for this additional $5.5 million worth of work. With that, I would open up to any questions.
Motion to open public hearing.
Second.
Okay, motion and second on public hearing. Counsel Mills?
Yes.
Webb?
Yes.
Counsel Chase?
Yes.
Counsel Geckran?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Public hearing is now open. Do you wish to speak?
Seeing none, rise online, Mr. Chair.
Anybody here have a question? Seeing none, I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
And second that.
Motion and a second to close. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Public hearing is now closed. Counsel Webb?
Just one general question on both these grants. So I imagine the pipe, the new water main is going from the Hampstead Floyd Road intersection and down Warner Hill Road. And so does that also extend the fire hydrants into that area?
Yes, it will. All of those water lines that would be installed would include fire protection as well. Yeah.
Oh, so that'll be a bonus for that whole section of town that currently really doesn't have many hydrants, because the last hydrant is the Floyd Hampstead Road.
Yeah, we do have one southerly at the Lawrence Road intersection of Stark.
Yeah.
It's as far south as we go, but the gap in the middle, we don't have anything currently. Yep.
All right.
Seeing no further questions, I'll read the resolution 2026-006 to apply for and accept grant funding related to Phase 2B for the Southern New Hampshire Regional Water Interconnection Project, whereas Section 915 of the Town Charter authorizes Town Council to apply for, accept, and expend funds available from the state, and whereas the Town Council previously adopted Resolution 2019-18 with authorized Derry's participation in the Southern New Hampshire Regional Water Interconnect Project, and whereas the Town Council adopted Resolutions 2024-68, 2025-34, 2020-60, 2020-26-005, which authorized acceptance of $15.33 million in grants from the New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services for the project, and whereas additional grant funding from the New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services available to further the project, now therefore be resolved in council that the town administrator is hereby authorized to sign and/or amend grant applications and agreements with NHDES and accept and expend $5,550,000 from the New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services for infrastructure improvements in Derry associated with the project. Resolution shall take effect immediately upon passage.
Second the motion.
Motion and second on the motion. Counsel Mills?
Yes.
Counsel Webb?
Yes.
Counsel Chase?
Yes.
Counsel McEachern?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. 5-0.
Thank you,
Tom.
councilors.
Appreciate it.
Have a good evening.
Under new business, 26-14, Resolution 2026-007, to approve and fund a collective bargaining agreement with the Teamsters Local 633. Mr. Fowler.
Okay, good evening. So tonight, you'll see that we have 5 items on our agenda, and I have a PowerPoint that I'll walk through. I want to talk generally, and then I think that will segue into, thank you, Owen, That will segue into the individual resolutions for each bargaining unit. So let's walk our way through this, and if you have any questions as we go along, I'm certainly willing to fill in the gaps. So just to talk a little bit about the background and process, the town of Derry has 7 bargaining units. They represent more than 95% of the full-time employees. 5 of the bargaining groups were approaching the end of their current contract, which would be coming up June 30th, 2026. And those were 5-year deals that we were looking for in the previous sessions. Process started this past summer. Staff consultations with department heads to identify goals for operations and administration of each contract. And also there was some outreach to the town council early in the process to identify their goals and look at the affordability of the future contracts. I also want to acknowledge the role of some key people. Anna Cole, who's our labor counsel from the firm Drummond Woodsum, Human Resources Director Catherine St. Ledger, she's in the audience tonight, and also CFO Mark Fleischer, were very instrumental in helping us guide some of the financial and some of the human resources information. And then finally, my thanks to the department heads for helping us out with crafting some of the language that we were trying to identify and some of the goals across the board. So tonight, just to keep a scorecard, there's 5 agenda items listed in order, and those are the 5 units that are represented. I had mentioned that there are 7 units. The 2 police units are in contract right now. One expires June 30th, 2027, and then the other one expires June 30th, 2029, which would be in alignment with these collective bargaining agreements under consideration tonight. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the challenges we faced as we worked through this, because obviously you can't do these negotiations in a bubble. You have to look at the overall picture. And so health insurance was one of the key drivers in our looking at our employee costs. The town is covered primarily by health trust. The rates that they had established are 27% higher than what we were paying in this current fiscal year. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that in this presentation, and then obviously when we get into the budget, that's going to have some dramatic impact. So we had to work through the other constraining factor, which is the town's tax cap. So we've talked about this before, but the CPI-U Northeast is 3.3 for 2025. That is going to be our top end of the line maximum that we can increase the town tax rate only. It doesn't include school, county, or the state education funding. So as I had mentioned before, the existing contracts were 5-year deals. Those were at 2% cost of living over the 5-year period. I do want to point out that the final 2 years had enhanced 3% and 3.5% as a result of equity clauses. Basically, they're also known as Me Too, but essentially those unions were granted the higher numbers as a result of what the police contracts were negotiated. Looking at market factors, we've had a lot of retirements, and we've had some competitive markets for specific trades and skills. So there's been some wage pressure throughout the municipal sector, which has been reflective in some of the adjustments that we've had to make in these contracts. As it stands right now, we have 13 vacancies. They're primarily in the police department, but we have filled a lot of positions, in the last 12 months. It's been a pretty rapid fire situation that we've been managing through over the last couple of years here. So I want to talk more about the health insurance costs. We offer a menu of high-level health plans to full-time employees. The town covers 87.5% of the cost, except for Teamsters, and we'll get into that when we talk about their plan. But of a single 2-person and a family plan, the Teamsters has a different plan through Allegiant Care that currently is at 86% cost share by the town. That is going to be altered in the new contract, and again, we'll talk about that when we get into the specifics of Teamsters. Employees do have the option, and they always have, to opt out of the town's insurance and receive a payment for the town if they are covered by a spouse or a parent, in some instances if they're under 26 years old. New Hampshire Health Trust is our de facto broker, and they are our aggregator to obtain what we believe are the best rates, but obviously in the future we may want to explore other options on that. And post-COVID, I think we can all attest to the fact that health insurance rates have gone crazy, and I think that is reflected in our experience as well. So just to kind of nail home the point here, The last 3 fiscal years, your budget has absorbed these increases that have been all double digits. So on the bottom, just to put kind of a framework on this, for an employee who chooses an AB10 plan, currently that cost of the plan as of 7/1 is $50,000. And so swallow that for a second. I think that's a major number that's affecting many towns across New Hampshire. Way it stands right now, the town is covering $43,000, 87.5%, and the employee covers the remainder of that out of their paycheck. So that is a reality that everybody's going to have to face as we craft these contracts. Looking at it from a holistic point of view, again, running the 3 years, look at the impacts from where we were at $3.8 million of cost share, now upwards of $6 million. And if you look at that, that's a 58% increase over the past 3 years. And the projected increase for fiscal 27 alone, if you go from 6 million to 4.7 million, that basically is consuming all of the town's tax cap capacity that we talked about $1.3 million. So just think about the constraints that we were faced as we went through this to try to work through on some of the wage questions. So I'll run through this real quick. Again, our tax cap is 3.3%. The tax rate that was established for 2025 is $5.39 just for the local portion. Based on the 3.3% increase, that allows us $5.57. So that'll be the number we'll be working on in the FY27 budget. You'll see this many, many times over the next 6 weeks as we work our way through the budget. But in the green, that tells us what our available tax cap capacity is. And again, it just is about $1.3 million. That is what we're dealing with, and that's going to be our maximum budget. We have to live within that tax cap. We have no choice but not to do so. Now, as we worked our way through, we tried to, as much as possible, make these 5 agreements resemble each other. So I'm happy to report that all 5 agreements have 3-year durations. They will all expire June 30th, 2029. In year 1, these groups are all getting a 4% cost of living adjustment. And again, just to put that in framework, the CPI for the Northeast is 3.3%. We also took a look at some of the positions in certain units that were requested by the union and also on management side to try to attract and retain employees in specific positions. It's important, and we don't want to have an unnecessarily high cost for contracting, for overtime, when you have openings that cannot be filled. So, credit to Catherine for being on top of looking at some of those areas that we needed to maybe be a little bit more competitive with. In years 2 and 3, we've aligned with cost of living with the SEIU, and there'll be a minimum of 2% and a maximum of 4.5% range. So I'm hoping we stay within that range and everybody is made whole, but there are caps on both sides to make sure that we stay within a more defined range. Health insurance cost shares are going to remain at 87.5% except for the Teamsters. Longevity was restored on all the contracts back to the pre-2016 rate of $5 per week per year of longevity. And then there are no equity clauses in the future contracts. So in other words, at this point, what you see is what you're going to get, and there'd be no adjustments in out years based on what another unit may or may not have received. Okay, so let's talk a little bit. Again, this is a big question, and I want to make sure that the council has confidence in where we'll be going with this. So, town council, town administrator, we recognize that there's value in compensating our employees fairly and equitably. We had talked early on amongst the council about utilizing proceeds from the CBA trust, and this is an account that has about $1.45 million in it, and so that's been compiled over the last 5 years, but we are going to have to go into this year's budget with a heavy reliance on that CBA trust to make the numbers work and not have adverse impacts in other areas. Again, this is a very unique year because had it not been for the health insurance costs going crazy, I don't think we'd have to dip into the CBA trust nearly to that extent. I'm hoping, and we'll continue to monitor the trends, but that the FY28 health insurance rates will not increase at the same level that they have been. Again, I'll keep the council posted. We don't get those new rates usually until October of each year. And as I mentioned earlier, we're going to be starting the budget process. I'm evaluating kind of what's been submitted by the department heads. We'll be delivering the budget to the council by April 1st, and we'll be working our way through the FY27 budget throughout the course of the workshops and public hearings, and then going for a vote on May 6th. So this is an integral part. I'm actually very thankful for the assistance of the unions and staff to get this squared away before we go into the budgets, because had we not, and we had outstanding questions, I think our budget would have really been a speculative guessing game. So I do want to recognize that I'm very happy if we're able to vote these through tonight, that we can move forward and we'll have a steady budget process to expect. Okay, so with that, we're going to break this down with each individual agenda item, and briefly going into each one of the individual items. You have a staff report that I prepared, but here's the summary for the Teamsters, which is agenda item 26-14. This is 49 members. It's primarily public works employees. Wage agreement follows exactly those core principles that we had set out. We did increase on-call pay, boot stipends, and mechanic tool allowance. Those have all been unchanged since I came on board in 2004 as the Public Works Director. So I thought it was about time to boost those up and bring those more to market comps. Teamsters had always been on an alternate health plan, Allegiant Care, and they were paying town was paying 86% town share. They have given us an indication that their projected increase is not to exceed 10% over the next 3 years, as opposed to the 27% that we have for the remainder of our town employees. So as a result, we were asked to increase the town's healthcare share, and we did so to 92.5%, but the costs of those plans are still less than what we pay for the remaining or the other groups. So when you spin this all together and you take a look at the health insurance, all the other benefits, this includes your Social Security, your retirement costs, your new wages that you have to raise. The cost of the Teamsters new year one increase is $368,623. And with that, I can answer any questions specific to the Teamsters agreement, but if you're okay with what we've discussed here, you have Resolution 2026-007 for the purposes of endorsing the Teamsters contract for the 3-year period.
Questions?
I think we've been through this enough. Is everybody okay?
Yep.
Mr. Chairman, given that everybody has nodded in agreement, I will read Resolution 2026-007. To approve and fund the collective bargaining agreement with the Teamsters Local 633, whereas Section 5.1 of the Town Charter establishes the Town Council as the governing legislative body of the town, thereby empowering the council to enter into contracts, and whereas the Town Administrator, pursuant to Section 8.6 of the Charter, has proposed the town enter into a collective bargaining agreement with the Teamsters Local 633 for the period of July 1st, 2026 through June 30th, 2029, and whereas pursuant to RSA 273A, the legislative body must make appropriation to fund the cost items of the collective bargaining agreement, and whereas the cost items of this collective bargaining agreement applicable to the fiscal year 27 shall be included in the fiscal 27 budget, and the council is aware of and acknowledges the future cost of the agreement and the necessity to utilize proceeds from the collective bargaining trust fund, which the town shall be obligated to fund. Now therefore be it resolved in council that the terms, conditions, and costs of collective bargaining agreement between the town of Derry and Teamsters Local 633 for period of July 1st, 2026 through June 30th, 2029 are hereby approved.
Second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. On the motion, Council Mills.
Yes.
Council Webb.
Yes.
Council Chase.
Yes.
Council McEachern.
Yes.
And I vote yes. 5-0. Moving on, 26-15, Resolution 2026-008, to approve and fund a collective bargaining agreement with the professional and technical employees, SEIU Local 1984. Mr. Fowler.
Okay. So I won't go through the specifics. It's more or less the same as the other bargaining groups, but you have a staff report. I'll provide a quick summary. PATE is comprised of 30 employees. It's primarily your technical and supervisory employees across multiple departments. The wage agreement follows the core principles in the previous slides. But in year 3, this group had requested a creation of a step 7 for all their employees, and we granted that. I do believe that they were the only group that only had 6 steps from, it was a remnant from a previous agreement, so we were able to make that request go. So year 1 increase was $314,998, and if there's no questions, you have resolution 2026-008 for your reading.
Questions?
Seeing none, Mr. Chairman, I will read Resolution 2026-008 to approve and fund the collective bargaining agreement with professional, administrative, and technical employees of Derry SEA of New Hampshire, Inc., SEIU Local 1984. Whereas Section 5.1 of the Town Charter establishes the Town Council as the governing and legislative body of the town, thereby empowering the council to enter into contracts, whereas the Town Administrator pursuant to 8.6 of the Charter has proposed that the town enter into collective bargaining agreement with the professional, administrative, and technical employees of Derry SEA of NH Inc., SEIU Local 1984 for the period of July 1st, 2026 through June 30th, 2029. Whereas pursuant to RSA 273A, legislative body must make an appropriation to fund the cost of items in the collective bargaining, and whereas the cost items of the collective bargaining agreement applicable to fiscal year 2027 shall be included in the FY27 budget, and the council is aware and acknowledges future costs of the agreement and the necessity to utilize proceeds from the collective bargaining trust fund, which the town council is obligated to fund. Now therefore be it resolved that the terms, conditions, costs of collective bargaining agreement between the town of Derry and professional, administrative, technical employees of Derry SEA of NH Inc., SEIU Local 1984 for period of July 1st, 2026 through June 30th, 2029 are hereby approved.
And I will continue that resolution. It says further, the town
did I miss it?
administrator is hereby directed to include the sum of $314,998 for the FY27 budget to fund the FY27 costs of this agreement. This resolution shall take place immediately upon its passage.
That's what I added, yes.
Teamwork.
And there's page 2. I still say yes.
We have a motion and a half and a second.
I'll second.
All right. Motion
Thank
and a second. On the motion, Councilor Mills.
Yes.
Councilor Webb.
Yes.
Councilor Chase.
Yes.
McEachran.
Yes.
And I vote yes. 5-0.
I missed the page 2.
Moving on to 26-16, Resolution 2026-009, to approve and fund a collective bargaining agreement with AFSCME Local 1801. Mr. Fowler.
All right. So now we bring to the AFSCME group, and that group is comprised of 26 clerical and administrative employees across multiple departments. Again, wage agreement follows the core principles of the previous slides. There were some year 1 wage adjustments to several positions for retention and recruitment needs. The total cost for this group increase in year 1 was $259,517, and you have a supporting resolution at number 2026-009.
Questions?
No. Now I'll read this one, and I now see there are 2 pages, so I won't make the same mistake twice. Resolution 2026-009 to approve and fund collective bargaining agreement with Local 1801, American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees, AFL-CIO Administrative Support Staff. Whereas Section 5.1 of the Town Charter establishes the Town Council as the governing and legislative body of the town, thereby empowering the council to enter into contracts, and whereas the Town Administrator, pursuant to Section 8.6 of the Charter, has proposed that the town enter into collective bargaining agreement with Local 1801, American Federation of State, County, Municipal Employees, AFL-CIO Administrative Support Staff for the period of July 1st, 26 through June 30th, 2029, whereas pursuant to RSA 273A, legislative body must make appropriation to fund the terms of the collective bargaining agreement, whereas the cost of this collective bargaining agreement applicable to the fiscal year 2027 is included in the FY27 budget. The council is aware and acknowledges future costs of the agreement and necessity to utilize proceeds from the collective bargaining trust, which the town shall be obligated to fund. Now therefore be it resolved in council, terms, conditions, costs of the collective bargaining agreement between the town of Derry, Local 1801, American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees, AFL-CIO Administrative Support Staff, for the period of July 1st, 26 through June 30th, 2029, is hereby approved. Further, the town administrator is hereby directed to include the sum of $259,517 in the FY27 budget to fund the FY27 costs of this agreement. Resolution shall take effect immediately upon passage.
Second that.
Okay, motion and a second. Council Mills.
Yes.
Council Webb.
Yes.
Council Chase.
Yes.
Council McEachern.
Yes.
And I vote yes. 5-0. Moving on to 26-17, Resolution 2026-010, to approve and fund a collective bargaining agreement with the IAFF Local 4392 Firefighters Unit. Wow.
Okay. So before we dive too much into the firefighters unit, I just want to point out that the next two items, you have a common staff report because the firefighters and the fire officers are under the same umbrella of IAFF, and then there was a preference that they combined into one negotiation, which was appreciated. So we really had 4 as opposed to 5 groups that we had to work through in union contracts. So we'll start with the firefighters. What you're going to see at the end, and I'll go through this, is there's a combined number. So when I say there's 51 members, when you see the cost implications, that's not for just the firefighters, it's for both the firefighters and fire officers. So firefighters are comprised of 51 members. It's your firefighters, your paramedics, and your dispatchers primarily. Wage agreements, again, are going to follow the core principles in the previous slides. However, we looked at, again, the wage adjustments for retention and recruitment purposes. There is a goal that we met to break out the pay scales of the firefighters so that instead of having one track, we now have steps that are established for basic, advanced EMT, and paramedics. So that was something that was designed to help us retain some of the critical need personnel and also address some of their needs for wage competitiveness. So we're happy to be able to provide that. So when you look at the total year one increase that you're going to be voting on, we felt it was useful to put this all into one, but that's really 74 members, not 51. So when you vote on this one, you're going to be indicating that you're voting on both the financial impacts of the firefighters and the fire officers, but you're going to read a separate resolution for the officers after this. So it's Resolution 2026-010.
Any questions?
Okay, Mr. Chairman, we'll read this one. Resolution 2026-010 to approve and fund the collective bargaining agreement with the Derry Firefighters Unit of IAFF Local 4392. Section 5.1 of the Town Charter establishes the Town Council as the governing legislative body of the town, thereby empowering the council to enter into contracts. Whereas the town administrator pursuant to 8.6 of the charter has proposed the town enter into a collective bargaining agreement with the Derry Firefighters Unit of IAFF Local 4392 for the period of July 1st, 26 through June 30th, 2029. And whereas pursuant to RSA 273A, legislative body must make appropriation to fund the cost items of a collective bargaining agreement. And whereas the cost items of this collective bargaining agreement applicable to fiscal year 2027 shall be included in the 27 budget. Council is aware and acknowledges future costs of the agreement and the necessity to utilize proceeds of the collective bargaining trust fund, which the town council is obligated to fund. Now therefore be resolved in council that terms, conditions, and costs of the collective bargaining agreement between the town of Derry Firefighters Unit of IAFF Local 4392 for the period of July 1st, 26 through June 30th, 2029 is hereby approved. Further, the town administrator is hereby directed to include and combine the combined sum of $873,868 in the FY27 budget to fund the FY27 cost of the firefighters, fire officers agreement. Resolution shall take effect immediately upon passage.
I will second that motion.
Okay, motion and a second. Counsel Mills.
Yes.
Counsel Webb.
Yes.
Counsel Chase.
Yes.
Deckard.
Yes.
And I vote yes. Motion passes 5-0.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman,
We'll go back and at the end. At the
You
end.
want to do it at the end?
Yeah. 27-18, Resolution 2026-011, to approve and fund a collective bargaining agreement with IAFF Local 4392 Fire Officers Unit. Fowler.
Okay, and so lastly, we have the Fire Officers Unit. It's comprised of 23 members. It's primarily your ranking members, lieutenants, captains, and battalion chiefs. Wage agreements fall in line with the core principles of the previous slides. There's a couple of wage adjustments, primarily in the lieutenant grade for positions for retention and recruitment needs. And again, as we had talked about in the previous slide for the firefighters, there's a combined cost of $873,868. You have a supporting resolution 2026-011 to read.
Questions?
And the final one. Resolution 2026-011 to approve and fund the collective bargaining agreement with the Derry Fire Officers Unit of IAFF Local 4392, whereas Section 5.1 of the Town Charter establishes the Town Council as the governing legislative body of the town, thereby empowering the council to enter into contracts, whereas the Town Administrator, pursuant to Section 8.6 of the Charter, has proposed that the town enter into collective bargaining agreement with the Derry Fire Officers Unit of IAFF Local 4392 for the period of July 1st, 26 through June 30th, 29. And whereas pursuant to RSA 273A, the legislative body must make appropriation to fund the cost items of the collective bargaining agreement. And whereas the cost items of the collective bargaining agreement applicable to fiscal year 27 shall be included in the 27 budget. The council is aware and acknowledges future costs of the agreement and the necessity to utilize proceeds from the collective bargaining trust fund, which the town shall be obligated to fund. Now therefore be it resolved, the terms, conditions, and costs of the collective bargaining agreement between the town of Derry and Derry Fire Officers Unit of IAFF Local 4392 for the period of July 1st, 2026 through June 30th, 2029 is hereby approved. Further, the town administrator is hereby directed to include the combined sum of $873,868 in the FY27 budget to fund the FY27 costs for the firefighters and fire officer agreement. Resolution shall take effect immediately upon passage.
Second.
Okay, a motion and a second. On the motion, Counsel Mills.
Yes.
Counsel Webb.
Just want to note that this is Jim's last resolution for a while.
He's gonna.
Oh, sorry. Never mind. Yes.
Case.
Yes.
Councilman Deckard.
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. Motion carries 5-0.
Mr. Chairman.
Hold on a second.
Okay.
Mr. Fowler, we had a little paperwork snafu on this end of it, so
Okay.
on
2614.
26.
The very first one, the second
Very
page.
first one, Tina, I did not read the second page.
I thought you read the second.
I did not.
Well, just in case, just
Go ahead and read it now.
just in case.
Just in case, I did not read it because Mr. Mills caught me on the second one. So I went back and said, uh-oh, didn't read the dollars in the first
So
one.
just
So
read
I'm
the
gonna,
second page of it,
I'm
so-
gonna make an amendment to my first motion to add to 2614. Further, the town administrator is hereby directed to include the sum of $368,623 in the FY27 budget to fund the FY27 costs of the agreement. Resolution shall take effect immediately upon passage.
You sure?
I'm sure this
I'll second that then.
I'm sure.
And that was for the Teamsters Local 630.
Yeah, the
So,
Teamsters.
Counsel Mills.
Yes.
Counsel Webb.
Yes.
Counsel Chase.
Yes.
Counsel McEachern.
Yes.
Yes. 5-0. Just in case, we better be safe and sorry.
No,
so
I wanted to make sure.
Just to make sure.
I thought I checked with her and she thought you had.
I thought you gotten it.
I did too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just in case.
Well, given that I missed the second one, I probably missed the first one, so I just want to go back and,
Yeah.
for clarity's purposes.
All right.
Mr.
Any final questions for the town administrator sitting there?
Great job. I'd
Yeah,
like to-
thank you
first,
to,
Mike, I'd like to thank you as well as all the bargaining units in Derry. Great job. Really appreciate the effort of not only the staff, but of the employees, making those efforts. And it's always a tough time going through these things, and, obviously with the town, with the tax cap, it's really nice to make sure we're all on the same page, so express my appreciation to all the employees as well as the staff for a job well done. Thank you.
Anyone? Council Webb?
Just note that we have 2 to 3 years now. I think that we should begin taking a hard look at health insurance costs. The that $50,000 figure frightens me, because as I pointed out in some of our contract discussions, we've now hit the point, and soon going to exceed the point, where the cost of a family plan exceeds the cost of some of our entry-level employees' wages. And it cripples us to look at the cost of health insurance. It's crippling us to, I think, develop market fair wages, and to also, for instance, in public works with, HVAC and plumbers and electricians, to be able to recruit and retain them from the public, from the private sector to the public sector. And it may be that the Health Insurance Trust and Allegiant are the best plans, most cost-effective out there. But I think we need to, where we now have the time and aren't rushing over the next 2 to 3 years, make a significant effort to look at health insurance.
And I agree with your concern there, Councilor Webb. Catherine and I had a discussion as recently as today about, when we looked at the slide rack in terms of what are some of our options. And so she's got a plan to reach out to some of our peer communities and see if there's other options that are at our disposal. But, obviously keeping in mind that it may end up being that Health Trust has the biggest bang for the buck, but we'll certainly go through that exercise.
Those that we represent in the taxpayers to do our due diligence.
Absolutely. I agree.
And just to echo a lot of that, so thank you to yourself and Catherine and Mark and the units and Anna and all that. The employees are the backbone of the community. Without them, the community's going to be non-functional, so it's important to take care of them. But we have the due diligence of the residents here to be, fiscally responsible to them as well. So thank you for the transparency and all the slides and all the information that we're giving out. So if nothing else, it's important to be transparent to the units and to the residents. So thank you all for doing that. Anything else from the town administrator? No?
Okay.
Councilor Mills.
I just wanted to thank Charlie Buzzell for coming here tonight and giving us that wonderful history lesson in the past. And I just want to question, does the Derry Historical Society have any of this information? We don't know. Perhaps
We'll reach out to them.
we'll reach out to them.
All right, so we're all set, Mike. So,
Yep.
Go ahead. So any other council comments? Council Webb.
Just want to point out that this is Councilor McEachran's last regular meeting, and that most people, I don't think, realize the impact that he's had through his 2 long terms in the town council, and even in between and before. The charter that we operate under, he was chairman of that charter commission. He helped write the tax cap that we operate under. He's been engaged in fiscal conservancy for the entire town for decades. His knowledge of the budget, but also not just budget, but municipal finances, I think he's been our strongest resource on the town council. I've known Jim through different things as an employee and as a resident town going back probably since the early to mid-90s. And to me, he's been a role model, a person I really respected, and I'm going to miss him on this council.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. Thank you very much.
He's a little remedial on reading resolutions, but
I don't know who we're going to get to do. Some of those resolutions are really long. I'm dreading the poor person who has to read them.
I'm sure you'll do a good job, Jack.
The junior guy. Council Chase, you have anything?
I just have to echo what Councilor Webb said. I've worked with Jim for years on the planning board, some on zoning, and he's always put everything he's had, true, honest effort into the best, what's best for the town in all of the boards that he served on, and he will greatly be missed. Hopefully he'll show up somewhere else.
Yeah.
I'll be around. I'm only a phone call away if you need anything.
So yeah, to that
Thank
point,
you.
so thank you for your help
Yeah.
and for the last couple of years and coming back to the council, so thank you.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you very much. It's been great working with everybody here, and not going far, just down the street. You never know. I'm never going to say never.
All right. Anyone else?
As James Bond said, right?
All right, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, meeting adjourned.